Chapter 47. Second Year Head. The woman standing next to Peter had long silvery hair that went down to her waist. On her head, she was wearing a beret, and by her side was her trusty rapier sword that was jagged and looked to be made from a long beast bone. She had a feeling that resonated off her body. She looked like the older sister type who you were able to trust to get you out of trouble when you needed it. As soon as she had entered the room, at that moment everyone froze, all except for one student. A second year who was too heated in the moment. He had finally seen Erin drop her guard. He continued to charge forward and was ready to attack, but before even a second could pass, the female teacher who had entered the room was right by the student's side, and a few moments later he had collapsed on the floor with the back of his foot all bloody. When did she get over there? Hey, look at his ankles. Do you think she did that? As Momo looked at who had entered the room, he immediately put his soul weapon away. Momo knew a lot of the teachers and high-position people in the academy. After all, he had already been here a year, and the person who had entered the room was not to be messed with. When she said whoever didn't listen to her would be punished, she meant it. The female's name was Faye Dallum. She was a sergeant at the academy and was mostly in charge of squad training. Anyone else but her, Momo said. Not only that, but her ability was super speed, the worst matchup for Momo. No matter how far ahead he could see in the future, her speed was just too fast to react. Not that he had planned to go against her anyway. He had already made that mistake last year when Faye was still only a private at the academy. Those of you who are injured go to the doctor's office to be treated immediately, while the rest of you head to the dorms and stay inside until you are called out again. Do you understand? Faye said. Most of the first-year students were silenced. They had no clue who she was or what was happening right now. Then, from the lack of people answering her with a reply, Faye drew her rapier once more, and after seeing this the students immediately answered, "Yes, miss." Vorden had gone to the hospital carrying his arm in his hand. The second-year students went to their own separate part of the building that was located somewhere else to get treated, while out of the first-year students, no one was really hurt apart from Vorden and Quinn. This time Quinn had no choice but to head to the doctor's office. His clothes were all bloody and he had lost a lot of blood, but once he had been out of combat for more than 10 minutes, his body started to heal itself. After successfully attaching Vorden's arm back to his body, Haley the school doctor had gone up to check on Quinn. When she asked him to take off his shirt so she could directly heal his wounds, she noticed that the markings had mostly already healed. What is this? For this much blood, the wounds should be a lot bigger. Quinn started to laugh nervously. Yeah, my friend has a healing ability and managed to heal me a bit before I got here. Oh, another healer, Haley said, surprised. Well, if you get the chance, send them down here. Their ability is quite good and it looks like they have done a splendid job. I could do with help and I would love to have a student of my own. Sure, Quinn replied. Haley then proceeded to complete healing the rest of Quinn's wounds on his body. After she was done, there was not a mark on him. During Quinn's own healing process, his body had used up quite a bit of energy, and once again the message had appeared stating he was hungry. Blood bank 90 out of 100. After consuming some blood from his blood bank, he no longer felt hungry and didn't have to worry about going on a frenzy for at least another 2 days. Once Quinn and Vorden had arrived back in their rooms, they were told not to leave until they were notified. Once in a while, a private would call out a student's name and they would be taken somewhere for questioning. Inside their own rooms was Vorden, Peter and Quinn. Thanks for calling the sergeant when you did, otherwise me and Quinn would have been goners by now. No problem, Peter replied, still feeling bad by the whole thing. Although he had done the right thing by getting Faye, he still felt bad for having tricked Vorden into going to the hall in the first place. What do you think will happen to the second years? Quinn asked. I'm not too sure. Vorden replied. If this was a one-on-one incident then I'm pretty sure they would have ignored it, but this time there were several students involved, most likely they will look for one person to pin the blame on. Meanwhile, inside one of the integration rooms, a large muscular man with forearms the size of thighs was sitting opposite the second-year student Momo, and on his shoulder, the man had the rank of general. His name was Duke King and he was head of the second-year students. Of all the people it had to be Faye to stop us, Momo complained. I did as you asked, and now I might pay for it. Will you relax? Nothing will come of this, I promise you that. Duke replied, you're only students and these types of things happen and I will vouch for you. Really? So this won't all fall back on me then? Momo asked. Then Duke stood up and went up behind Momo and whispered in his ear. Of course, as long as no one finds out about our little secret, Duke said with a smile.